potentially cut this depending on how windy it is where we're going, because we're going to the beach. The beach is very open. It's winter and it's below 10 degrees, so it's not exactly the ideal beach conditions, but you know, it's all good for a run. So yeah, welcome. My name's David. I'm early 30s, live in New Zealand. Lived in a few different parts of New Zealand, but now I'm at the very bottom. It's nice down here. A lot colder than other places. Definitely a lot colder. You feel it in winter. And the winter daylight hours are very short. You're talking like just over 8 hours. Whereas the summer ones, you get close to 16. It gets to the point where you go to bed and it's still just on sunset, and then you wake up and like the sun's already rising, or there's decent light in the sky. So it can be a bit weird when you just don't see nighttime if you are pretty good with your sleeping schedules. So I've done a few test videos before to try and make sure this thing's stable and actually recording well, but I know my voice can be a bit nasally when I breathe, because I breathe in through my nose and then I breathe out through my mouth. But when I run faster, I think I use my mouth the whole time, so it actually sounds better. Ideally, I'm going to be just recording on the slower runs though, unless it's like a full-on race. So I don't expect to do intensity kind of runs when I'm by myself. But if I am, say, going for a park run with some mates, or a long run with people, you may see a bit of variation there. Otherwise, the general idea is there'll be some videos like this where I'm talking, and I'd rather it to be more of a just wait for the plane. Anyway, so I'd rather these talking videos to be more of a deeper thing than just a traditional vlog, like I'm going out to eat and what's been happening in like the day-to-days. Rather it to be a bit more thoughts, ideas, different perceptions, stuff like that. I don't know how well I'll do it actually articulating it while I'm running, because it's hard to have a constant stream of words. But when I'm running, I feel like my mind and my voice can actually kind of stay more in line with each other. If I'm just like sitting still, I feel like my mind can just like race ahead. And especially when I'm writing, I find it very difficult to actually keep up, and I've caught myself on occasion writing, say, like a few sentences or a paragraph ahead, because that's where my mind is, but my fingers are still a little bit behind. And by a little, I mean a lot. Yeah. And then the other one, which I'll change it to that style of video if it's a bit windy, is just me not talking. We're just going for a run. You'll hear, you know, my footsteps, the birds, the wind. Definitely the wind. It's quite windy, just in general down here. Today you'll hear the waves as well. The waves are loud enough you can hear them from a few kilometers away. I think maybe one time I've heard them from town, yeah, like this area, it's not the most populated, but plenty of people still come down here. It's a good kind of like outdoor activity area. And also one of the few beaches you can actually drive on, so don't freak out if you see some cars or some horses while we're going on the beach. Generally, we kind of hang around closer to the starting area, but you will on occasion see them following further down. For the most part, I'm usually just running by myself on the open beach for ages, and then you eventually go, okay, at this point I'll turn around. That's cool. Yeah, so New Zealand is the left side of the road, so when people run on the opposite side so they can see traffic coming, we'd run on the right. Hopefully that's not too weird and shocking for some people. But yeah, I like cars. I like cars mostly from the 80s, 90s kind of era. Japanese ones, but they're expensive, so I don't collect them or modify them too much anymore. If I did make like ridiculous amounts of money, sure, but if I want to do other things in life as well as cars, it becomes really difficult. But people in the car scene are very, very dedicated, and you'll always get so much conversation out of people, whereas there's other subjects where they may not talk so much because there's not as much of a time and money investment. So if you ever want to get someone to talk about something really specific and they've got a unique car, ask them about their car, and you will probably be there for a long time. And you can ask like one or two questions, and then they can carry on a monologue if you want them to. Cars still ages away. Also like video games, quite a bit into racing games like Gran Turismo. Used to play Forza Horizon, but Forza doesn't like me, it doesn't like my computer. My computer wouldn't run it after some time, but I played plenty, so it's fine. And then also a lot of action adventure role-playing games. So my current one's Bannerlord. Mountain Blade Bannerlord. Really good game. You can put far too many hours into it. Here we go. Cars, a few jet bikes. It's not the sunniest day, but whatever. Hey! For a Thursday morning, it's more populated than I expected. But yeah, welcome to the beach. It's usually very, very wide. There's always bumps and lumps in it. And the tide is always changing it. So you can't come down and see the exact same thing. I've used these massive sticks as landmarks for where to turn around before. They're gone. They can get wiped out in like a really high tide or a storm or something, we've had some of these dunes just erode into the water when it's been a strong tide. It's not really a surf beach either. The waves, they break. I forget how surfers describe it, but they want more of a continual wave or a build up. Whereas these ones, they kind of do something, but then they fall apart, or they don't break and then follow a clean line. Like they'll break in different sections, so you can't ride a wave for as long of a period. Also enjoy, or have enjoyed photography for a long time. Has been a big part of my life, but since I started running a lot more, it's subsided, kind of fallen off. But that's also just, I'm not moving around as much. I'm not constantly looking for things. So if you stay in a small radius, it's kind of easy to exhaust your options and feel like you'll photograph everything. I certainly felt that where I grew up. If you live somewhere for decades, you kind of go, I've been here and here and all these other spots that people would go take photos of beautiful places, and yeah, I guess you feel less compelled to go out. Yeah, so lastly, running. When did I start? Started somewhere around November, December, maybe January, but I'm going to say November, December, a year and a half ago, so 2023. Had small stints before that, but I've also been like the absolute worst runner at school. I would come second to last in cross country, and I would be like taking my inhaler with me and just using it multiple times throughout, just to feel like it gives you a bit of a boost. Yeah, I haven't grown up as an athlete. I haven't been surrounded by sports or any kind of pressure. I've got into it more. I got into it originally just to kind of wake up feeling good. So I'd do these short 1 to 2k runs, and then have breakfast, and then, you know, shower, go to work. And then I'd start thinking, I want to do a half marathon at some point. It's one of those like bucket list things that most people will be like, that's a good goal to go for. That's something to strive for. I don't really know what it is, but I should try. So I've had the idea a while before actually starting to running or committing to running regularly. But yeah, for about a year and a half I've been regular. Don't run every day, but every week I'd still get in a good amount of running time. And moved down here last year in July, so that's when I really started to run more often. I would beforehand I would do a long run of like up to 10Ks, and it'd be one in the weekend, and it's just hills. There's so many hills on concrete footpaths beside main roads. Really difficult. Really difficult. still try to do it first thing so it's not as warm, especially because this was more in the summer months. But yeah, I got my level of fitness up before I came down here, enough so that I could go and like drop my car off at a mechanic if I needed to pick up my car, and my mate lived say 7 days away. I'll be like, nah, don't worry about picking me up, I'll run over. And you know, that's a pretty cool feeling to know that you can accomplish something like that, and that it's not going to absolutely ruin your day because you're exhausted after it. So I came down here, and one of the first things I was doing was looking into groups, how I can kind of start meeting people, not be some kind of hermit or anything. And parkrun was the only running thing I tried, and it was the thing that definitely stuck, where I'm like, I'm coming back every Saturday for this. Good group of people, everyone's pretty nice, and there's obviously a bit of a competitiveness to it if you want to. So yeah, that's kind of how I developed a lot of friendships down here, how people started knowing me. And then you just get all the other people you don't know that would know you when you'd be running, say, along the main roads, and they're like, oh, I wouldn't run that far, and they're like, oh, I've seen you running through like this suburb. So yeah, it's not a good sport if you want to hide yourself and not be known, unless you just stick to, say, forest paths and the really out of the way kind of stuff. But yeah, so I started with parkrun, and the first half marathon I was going to do is in November, so I had between July and November to kind of get my sights on that and figure out how am I going to get up to 21 Ks and feel like I can do it without dying. Like, I want to be able to enjoy it. So yeah, that was interesting because for the most part I hadn't had much advice or interaction with other people to do with running before I came down here. Yeah, and that definitely helped give me an idea of how to work towards it, build up my strength, so that, you know, 10K is doable and not I'm done at 10K, I'm not doing anymore. I managed to get up to half marathon kind of fitness pretty easily, and I say that because if you want to, you could do it in a much shorter time period. A lot of the workouts and schedules you'll see, they're 16-week, so 4-month kind of blocks. So they reckon that's enough time to get someone moving, used to enduring longer distances, and you know, they're not going to ruin themselves. And I had 4 months. Yeah, I had 4 months, but I'd already built up a level previous to that. So this was a lot more of adding on. Regardless, it's not all about physicalness. There is definitely a mental to it. I'm a lot more of a conservative person. I don't overestimate my abilities very much, so if anything, I'll doubt myself, which is good for surviving. Like, I should not be the person throwing up during a race, because I'll back off before my body wants to completely seize up and destroy itself. Yeah, yes, I've got a lot of caution and a lot of long-term emphasis over short-term. If I just get this time, I don't care what happens after this. I'd rather be able to go for a run a day or two after a half marathon, which is, I think, what happened. I didn't feel too sore afterwards. Felt tired that day, definitely. Had a very early night and didn't do too much once I got home. But the next day I felt fine. I think I stayed cautious and didn't run just in case. But then when I went for a run after that, it was all good. And then yeah, like you can recover fast enough that I've done 2 half marathons where they were weekends apart. One was Saturday one weekend, and then the next weekend yet another one, and then they were in summer too, and they were running up like farmland hills, so they were rough, and it was a lot harder and a lot slower than a more traditional half marathon run that you might stumble across. So I actually had to walk those at some point because they were that much rougher. And my goal for those was just to try not to walk as much as possible. But yeah, so I've only had one kind of round of half marathons so far and races. This will be my second round of stuff. And when I say that, I also jumped in at the end of the, not the end of the season, but the end of the year's half marathons, because they go from about August to about March. But if you're desperate and you can't wait in between, there are some other events, but when they're more frequent, they kind of held between August and March. So yeah, so I'm looking at shaving off a bit of time when I do that half marathon again in November, but I also don't expect to do major, absolutely incredible gains. Time-wise, I did an hour and 56 minutes for the half marathon in Queenstown, and hopefully I'll get down to about 140, I think, this year. I've got a couple halves for it, I think 3, so August, September, October, and that'll give me a good kind of reference point for where I'm at now, because I can run 155s, 156s by myself just like this, obviously faster than this, but I can do that without any race pressure or excitement, I guess. And what you'll always find is when you're running in a race, whether it's a park run or a half marathon, you end up going faster. I don't know how to explain it in any kind of scientific terms, but I could try and run as hard as I want by myself, and I'm not going to be able to run as fast or sustain it as long when I'm by myself and I'm, say, like on the beach, down a straight road, on the track, whatever it is. Could be a mindset thing, but when you're doing like a park run or a track session with other people, or a half marathon where there's always people around you, I guess there's a bit more motivation. There's a bit more, I'm going to stay at the same speed as this guy, I'm not going to fall behind, or, oh, they're going a bit slower, I'm going to pass them, let's see who's in front of me. Stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not the most competitive person. I'm not focus just on times, and I have to get the fastest time, and that's what is gonna make that marathon feel like an accomplishment. The guys that run faster than me, they seem very head down, super focused. They won't kind of look at you or say hi if you're running past them, because they have to put in as much concentration on keeping their speed the whole time. Whereas I'll kind of say hi to people more often. I'll have a bit of a chat if someone's up to it. But yeah, I think I'm thinking I'm pretty good where I am at the moment. I run a 20-minute 5K park run, so I'm usually finishing somewhere up front in those events. But also, the people that are in front of me are way in front of me. They may have already been turned around and they're going for a little bit of a cool down run, while you're still holding on for dear life and trying to just sprint that last bit. So yeah, I don't necessarily have the ambition to get there, or at least to get there anytime soon. I'd rather make small, steady, and consistent progress than I would try to really go all out and go hard for 2 months, 4 months, and then do an event like a half marathon. Because if I do something like that, generally I'll just lose the enthusiasm for it straight afterwards. I'll just finish the half marathon and be like, I did what I wanted to do. I don't feel the need to go out for a run today. Or you might only want to run on the competitive days. I enjoy these longer runs where my head kind of gets to clear itself out. You're not pushing yourself where your body's resisting what you're doing, but you're still getting enough of a workout that by the end of it, you've put in some good effort. So that's kind of where I guess I'll be aiming the stuff I'll produce. I'll still probably do 1 or 2 videos at parkrun. I might check if they're going to be okay with me doing it. I don't see why not, since people take photos and they put it up on the Facebook page. But I will say, having a camera on your head does kind of hinder you a little bit. Not massively, it's not the heaviest thing, but it does make you sweat. So in summer especially, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. But also, yeah, like if it's not perfectly secure, and if you're running with extra momentum or extra bounciness, whether that's from going faster or the surface you're on, if you're on trails, you definitely feel it kind of moving around a lot more. And they have good stabilization, so it shouldn't be going crazy when everyone else sees it. It should look a lot more chilled and relaxed. But I wouldn't want anyone else to see like a bouncy view. I find it hard to watch videos where everything's shaking the whole time. So I've done over 6Ks total. Did a little bit before I started recording, just to warm up. And yeah, but kind of shows the beach just goes on forever. You can You can just keep going so far. It does eventually stop. It's not never ending. But I think if you wanted to, you could run a half marathon running in one direction. Not from where I came out. Or maybe actually. And if you wanted to do a full marathon, maybe you would run from one point to another and turn around. But it's definitely long. If you're driving your car down here, it's not like you're going for 5 minutes and then, all right, I made it to the end. Yep, doesn't look like I can see anyone around us at all. We'll go closer to the actual sort of water side of it for a little bit. I generally end up staying on the harder stuff on top, but a lot of people like running down here. I don't get too scientific or detailed with how I run. I just run, maybe look at my watch and go, alright, I'm going a bit slow, I need to go faster. But I don't try and think about it too much. My mind's pretty good at racing and overthinking things and getting caught up in minor details, even subconsciously as well. So I don't really want to do that with running. I don't want to be thinking about my form and trying to fix that, and trying to always be thoughtful about my breathing. Something in the distance. It's kind of sticking out of the water. I'll use that as my turning around point. And we'll end up doing maybe 13 to 13 and a half Ks today. My usual runs are around the 10K mark. If I'm just going out for a run and it's a slow chill run that's not a long run. So, in the ballpark of 50 minutes to an hour. But the beach, I don't really have a route for so much, especially if I come onto the beach early. If I'm ending with the beach and running back, it's different. That's easy to measure, but it's really hard to find the entries and the exits along here, unless it is where cars can come in and out of, because those are massive. But even then, you're still running down a straight line and thinking, man, I still can't see anyone. I still can't see any openings. Where is it? How much further do we have? Massive stick down here. It's a bit rude to call it a stick. It's far mightier than that. Even something like that will eventually move, given enough time and given strong enough waves. So it doesn't happen every time you come down, but you will kind of I realize things have changed. Yeah, in terms of like videos and stuff though, I'm very new to talking to a camera. I'm rather bad, especially bad at talking to a camera where I can see it and it's staring me in the eyes. I blink a lot. I look away a crazy amount and I forget all my words. It's almost as bad as asking out a computer. Except I can focus on her easier. Eyesight at least. But the words are worse. So ideally I'll get better at this. I don't plan to be talking the whole time in the runs, but I also don't want to have a 10-minute silence. I'm also thinking I will kind of mention where the talking points are so people can skip to whatever's interesting. But yeah, like I just grabbed the DJI Osmo Action 4, got a head strap, and got a lavalier mic, or a lav mic for short, or a lapel mic, all the same thing. And that's been my starting base to experiment with this. So it could get better later, especially the audio. I'd like to improve that in time if I want to run with people. I don't think they're going to be easily heard with just a single mic. But start like this, see if I can maintain it. Just like if you were to start off running, like you don't start thinking, oh, never run before, I'll run a block, and I want to run a full marathon, full 42.2 Ks, and that's what I'm going to do this year. It's like, no, just keep your head focused on the present. Think about actually getting out there, starting to move, get more used to running, and making it more automatic and easy. Because the most difficult thing for me is procrastinating and finding excuses not to do it, especially when it is important. Like the more important things seem to be the easier ones to hold off on, or to say, nah, I'll do it a little bit later. Especially if they're new. If there's something you do all the time, I think it's different. But if it's like learning to sing, play an instrument, and you're going to be bad, you're going to be terrible at the start, it takes a bit. It takes quite a lot, I think, to actually get reasonably good and to enjoy the results of it. So, yeah, I'm self-conscious about how good these are at the moment. All my test videos have had tilted videos, so they're always, which way are they? I think they are, the horizon is like this, so the left side tilts down a lot. And that just seems really bad and silly. So, I'd like to say this one won't have that problem. It's very easy and clear horizon to see, and I'm not using stabilization that is trying to lock onto a line in the distance and to try to keep it straight, because I think that was giving me more problems than benefits in the testing. But it did mean that the camera wouldn't wobble from side to side. running about a 6-minute pace. I've been doing a lot of 40-minute kilometers, so good kind of just steady pace. You definitely do slow down on the beach more than you do on a paved or gravel surface, but it's not a dramatic slow down like it would be if you were running up and down mountains and trails and constant changing surfaces and elevations.